Is everybody hopefully well? Exciting times over here at Freedom Plaza all the time, at least has been for me this past week. We did have a resignation of our Vice President of RAC, and we're in the process of re-electing a new one. And Sarah has served us well and done a great job, so I did appreciate everything she did. If we can have the next slide, please. Have a clicker. Oh, next, one more. If everyone will please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Go America. Madam Secretary, I believe we have a quorum, correct? Yep. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, well, we have executive committee, myself, president, working on a new vice president. So the way that works is your RAC council, they get the first crack at it. They make a nomination, gets seconded, gets voted on, or it could be multiples. Nobody was running up today, and I understand why not, because they need a little time, process everything. It's an important job. If we get no nominations from the council, the next thing we do is we go to past officers. If we get nobody from past officers, then we go to committee chairs. And if we don't get committee chairs, then we go to you guys. So I don't think we'll go that far, but just kind of let you know what's happening since it is your rec. Right now, these are your, I'm sorry, and this is our secretary who does so much for us. Janet, will you stand up and just kind of wave at the crowd? She makes sure it all comes together, so that's important. These are your current RAC reps. We do have a new RAC rep. Susie, are you here? Will you stand up? Susie is a new RAC rep for 60E. Welcome her. And those are your RAC reps. Those are the people on your floor or in your buildings that represent you back to the council. And also most of them are liaisons to committees or even chair committees. So they're an important bunch of people. Here's the great pictures of them. Okay, moving on. Yes, there we are. And then we have our committees, and the committees they're the working on day-to-day what's happening with maintenance, with activities. You'll hear from actually 3 committees today. So we were hoping to have a speaker in from the squad, Robin Watt, but she couldn't make it today. Then she was going to go to Angie's meeting, and she just sent me a note last night that she can't make that one either, but we'll get her in here. She was going to talk about falls, which is really an important issue. But these people are wonderful. If you are the committee chair, would you stand up, please? We want to just honor you. Thank you all for the work you do. Next slide. Okay, we're down to my remarks. Well, I kind of did my remarks, letting you know what's happening and what's going on. So as far as Robin Watt goes and Falls, I'm going to keep working on it to try and get her in here. We're trying to, my issue this whole year has been to get moving, to do things, and falls when we're afraid of falling, it's an important issue. The one thing the squad did tell me is that this year they've had a lot more falls than any other year. They contribute some of that to COVID. People have been kind of sitting around, not doing much. They said to be careful about wiring, that you're putting extensions across the floor, that you're tripping over, and other things you're leaving on the floor. But I'll leave that to Robin to go through. Now I'd like to invite up Angie Rohr, our Executive Director, and I know she has some great information for us.
Always.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
A couple of updates. I just got an email from our Regional Safety Director giving us some early information on the latest tropical storm that's brewing in the Caribbean. Early models have it coming towards us, but like I said, it's early. But we're going to keep a very close eye on that and keep you all informed of what's going on. We may start some early preparations for a potential storm over the weekend. I'll get with Sibby after this meeting, but again, we'll make sure everybody's informed of what's going on. An update on our sales. So as of today, we have 11 sales for the third quarter, which is head and shoulders above where we were about 3 weeks ago. So our budget's 16, we're at 11, we're happy with 11. Of course, we would love to get a few more, but the really great news is that we're only projecting 8 move-outs for the quarter. So and with that respect, it's going to be a net gain of 3 apartments of occupancy, which is great. That makes 2 quarters in a row that we've actually increased our occupancy, and that's the direction we want to go. We want that to keep happening every quarter. So we're really optimistic about the rest of this month as well as the rest of this year. Our sales team is doing great. We are still recruiting for a director of marketing. We had a few interviews, nobody that's really knocked my socks off yet. So we're waiting for somebody to knock my socks off. In the meantime, Philip Rutledge will continue to help us in the sales office. He's usually here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week, and in partnership with myself, we're supporting the sales team and giving them what they need to sell apartments. On October 5th, I'm going to be presenting the first draft of our 2023 operating budget to our resident leaders. And then on October 17th, which is a Monday, we're going to do our presentation of the 2023 budget here in the auditorium. But we'll make sure we post that, all the details of that meeting and the contents as we get closer to that date. So if you have your calendar with you, mark off October 17th at 3 o'clock. That's going to be our presentation on next year's budget, and you all know that includes monthly service fee increases. So we get the groans out, get them out. So we'll be doing that on October 17th. Good news is that our new DFS, Dennis, starts on Monday, so I'm going to let him do that presentation. I might be absent that day, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Dennis will be here, and he will. I will get him up to speed on our budget and those presentations and all the information and hard work that goes into them. He will be a great resource for all of you. I'm really excited for him to start on Monday. Also, I wanted to mention, I know last Friday we had a theft here on campus. I put out a memo, just a few follow-up items from that. I want to let you know what a valuable resource ROC is for our residents and the community as a whole. They were able to help this particular resident with everything that had to be done as a result of that theft, as far as canceling credit cards and notifying the bank about checkbooks that were stolen and things like that. So we were able to pretty quickly make that resident whole and not have to worry about those things. So thank you to ROC for those services that they provide to our residents. We're very thankful for that. And also, I know we've been in touch with Deputy Mary as a result of that incident. He is patrolling Freedom Plaza more frequently as he is able, which is also reassuring to me anyway, to know that he's making time to keep Freedom Plaza on his patrol route and keep his eyes peeled for anything that doesn't look like anybody or cars that don't look like they should be here. That being said, it's hard to tell, right? I wouldn't know by looking at a vehicle whether it does or doesn't belong here. So we're just all trying to keep our eyes peeled and keep an eye on everything that's going on around the campus. Also, I wanted to mention, I know several residents have approached me about the salon pricing. I am doing some due diligence, but I want to be very transparent with everybody. Had a meeting with our current salon regarding pricing. I can't force them to change their prices, but I'll tell you what I can do, right? We can look into getting a different salon here at Freedom Plaza, which I did. The prices are the same. So what I'm hearing pretty consistently is that we can't compare our salon to Supercuts or to a private salon in Sun City Center. It's a different type of operation, a different type of business. And there's some administrative things that if we were to change a salon, there are some administrative things that go into that process. So we don't own the licenses for any of the salons on campus. So if we would bring in a new salon, they would have to get licenses for the salon. But also that involves, we have some pretty long tenured stylists in our salon that everybody likes, and I know I don't want to leave my stylist, right? So people are pretty attached to the folks that do their hair or perform the services for them. So the one thing I do want to highlight, and I will say that I missed it as I had conversations with residents, there was some concern that there was no distinction between a women's haircut and a men's haircut, and that men shouldn't have to pay $30 for a haircut. So I learned two things. There are certain states that it is illegal to differentiate by gender the price of a haircut. The good news is Florida is not one of those states. Okay, so I think it comes down to semantics. If you look at the price sheet for the salon, there's something called a clipper cut, which is really a men's haircut. So it is a little less expensive than the normal haircut. So I'm not done working. It's just not a quick or easy process because I can't set prices for the salon. All I can do is have conversations. I can look into alternatives, and we just haven't made real great progress in getting anything significantly reduced at this point, but I'm continuing to work on it. I just wanted to keep you all informed of that. Lastly, I had a meeting with a resident this week, and she expressed to me that there are several residents who say they've never met me, they don't know me, and they don't, I don't know if they don't come to events or they don't come to meetings like this, and that's all okay. You can participate in what you want to participate in, but what we're going to do in the first part of November, and I don't have a lot of details yet, I just mentioned it to Stephanie earlier this week, we're going to set up some sort of meet and greet, and I don't know if it's going to be in the atrium or it's going to be up here in the auditorium, but it's going to be a real casual meet and greet. There'll be some food and beverages, and I'm happy to get up and tell my life story if you all would like to hear it. Happy to talk about anything, but I want to make sure anybody that wants an opportunity to speak with me has that opportunity. And most of you in here, as I scan the audience, I've met, I've had conversations with, and know full well you can just stop by my office if nobody's in there. You can come in and talk to me. You can always set up an appointment with Stephanie to talk to me. Or if you see me in the hall, you can stop me and talk to me. I will caution you or put out a disclaimer. If you stop me in the hall and tell me something that I need to address, I may forget. So I always encourage an email or a follow-up conversation that I can document just to make sure I do my follow-up for you. But please know you can always stop by and talk to me at any time. And I think that's all I have for today. So any questions for me? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really, no questions for her, huh?
You're taking it easy on me today.
Okay. One of the groups of people that really we are not allowed to tip but we have associates all the time that are working for us, whether they're in front of our eyes or behind the scenes, that we do like to take care of around the end of the year. And we do have a way to make that happen, and that's our Associate Appreciation Fund. I'd like to invite Janet Blackshire up to talk a little bit about how to do that and why to do that. So if you would come up here. Am I dragging you up here? You have done such a great job. We have that little thermometer downstairs showing us where we're at, so it looks good, but not enough, huh?
I promised Deanna Parrish, our treasurer, that this year I wasn't going to panic, because last September I was panicking. And then you all really pulled us through. I mean, we had our best year ever last year. Well, I'm starting to panic again. So I lied. But I do appreciate the opportunity just to give a couple of reminders as we're going to the home stretch. This year in particular, I feel more of a burden, because as I'm around campus and looking in the lock boxes, you know, to get out checks or whatever, associates will come up to me and just tell me how much they appreciate the residents and what they do for them. And I hear it every month. So it's a burden on my heart when I hear it, and they'll tell how they use the money. So it's a wonderful thing that we do, and don't ever think that they don't appreciate it, because they do. So I really appreciate this opportunity to update you on the RAC Appreciation Fund, and thank all of you who have already given to this fund. We have 49 and a half days left to collect your donations. The cutoff date this year is Friday, November the 11th at 12 noon. Today, our bank balance is $118,192. The exact amount is $118,192.01. So I rounded it. We know we can't reach our goal unless the residents donate to the fund this year, more of them than donated last year, because thankfully we have more associates this year than we had last year. Our associates are amazing, and we need to show them how much we, the residents, appreciate them. This is our gift to them. They feed us, they plan and transport us off campus to go shopping, which is important to me, to go to different restaurants, to appointments, and much more. They make sure our campus looks beautiful. They handle any repairs we need, and they provide security and concierge service for us. We have 24/7 EMT service. They clean our apartments and change our bed linens once a week. We, no doubt about it, you all, they make our life easier. I know last week when Benny was going to have another knee surgery, and before the surgery, the night before, he has to sleep on clean sheets. So we had to change the linens on the bed. And he said, I forgot how hard it is to change these. Those sheets are hard to get on, so I gave Juana an extra hug. Even though you don't play golf, you can appreciate and admire the beautiful golf course scenery from your apartment or when you're walking. We are a family at Freedom Plaza, and December is the month of giving. For $2 a day per person, we can bring a lot of joy to our hourly associates. I will update the gold thermometer with every combined total of $6,250 we received. It takes teamwork to make this happen, and the most important members of this team are the residents. Without your donations, we can't reach our goal. So if your neighbor is not here today, please share that we only have 49 1/2 days to reach our goal. We did it last year. We can do it again this year. Thank you.
Thank you. It really is important to reach into your pocket and take care of them. There are ways you can do it. I decided this year I just have it go in weekly, so it comes out of my bank account automatically weekly. But I just wanted to see how that worked. But there's so many ways you can do it. But right now, reach in, give a little extra. They deserve it. Now I'd like to invite up Mr. Joel Birnbaum, who is committee chair for a committee that is getting a name change the end of this year. It's going to be called Racket Sports. It's going to be called the Sports Committee because he's a big sport. But I'm sure we will have a pleasant presentation.
Not only are we going to have a name change, but my name is changed. They spelled it Birnbaum, whatever. So now I have a name change.
They changed your name.
Did you look at how they spelled my name? That's your fault.
No, it's fault. You gave it the slide, right? All right, I apologize. You changed your
Apology
name.
accepted. Apology accepted. Not only has the racket sports expanded, but I've expanded myself. We're going to call it, what are we calling it now?
The Sports Committee.
The Sports Committee. That sounds great. Okay. The Sports Committee. I used to be a menace at tennis. That was my sport. I could really cover the court. The 8 players I was among, just like my racket, I was high-strung. But old age can creep up like a cheap pair of jockey shorts. So when I could no longer hack it, I tried another racket and looked for other sports. I don't think I'm fickle at all, but to tennis, said goodbye, and now try pickleball. What a crazy name for a crazy game. Who would have thought I'd be contented to lumber on a court that's cemented, playing a game that's named for a cucumber that's fermented? But if racket sports are not your cup of tea, take it from me, there are 2 other crazy named games you can play. Oh, that was me. At the top of the list, here's the gist. What can I say? I confess I don't know who named them that way and why. I guess it's probably that same pickleball guy. I'm at a loss, so I'll name the worst named game first. If you play it, you don't have to say it. At number one, it's a lot of fun. Guess what? Cornhole toss. But if that's not for you, here's number two. Another lame name game, shuffleboard. If it's all the same, this lame name game should also be ignored. Because when you shuffle, you're not bored. Even though this game is quite tamer, you must sign this disclaimer. Play at your own risk. You just might slip a disc. So give them a try, play a few rounds. Here's why. If only one of these games you choose, you got nothing to lose, well, maybe just a few pounds. That's
Thank you for your poetry and your services. Going to be a hard act to follow. But we have a lot of fun activities here at Freedom Plaza, and URAC has a committee that works with that department to make sure we have fun, in addition to all the other fun things like pickleball and racket sports and whatever. I'd like to invite Mr. Bill Turcott up to talk about the community activities. Now, you got a poem for us, I hope.
Thank you. All right. Let's get rid of that. Those teeth are false. Don't fall teeth. Well, anyway. All right, that's our mission statement, P. I don't have to read it to you. You can read it yourself and so on. There it is. That's what we do. And presently, these are the people who are on that committee who work very hard, and are they here? Would you please stand? Any of these committee members here? Yes. Yeah, thank you, folks. It says in this sheet of paper here that you may or may not have seen, it says here, Freedom Plaza's Resident Programs Department, you got that, department, provides broad and varied activities for all residents. These include social, educational, cultural, spiritual, recreational, fitness, entertainment-oriented activities, programs, and trips. This is a list of the 62 activities that we and our committee get involved with. There's 62 of these things. This sheet here, I'd pass it around, but this sheet here is old, and it's a very dynamic situation because activities come and they go, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, where are we visible? Have you noticed the two televisions that are downstairs on each side of the atrium by the elevators, right? All right, stop at one of those sometimes and take a look at what's going on. The people who have signed up for committees, for activities are on there and so on. What is coming up, that's all. It's an advertising gimmick. It's there for you. It's there for you. What else do we have for you so you know what's going on? The weekly. All right, the weekly is put out not by resident programs, it's by Angie's office and so on, but what was in your mailbox this morning were 2 sheets of paper, look like this, right? You know what they are, I hope. Right? Well, the second sheet is the one from the activities department. Okay, I mean, you knew that. All right, what's on this thing? And I say this because so many people say, I didn't know. Well, here it is. Here it is. Here's next week's, and it's by day, and it tells you by the hour what's going on. It's there. Put it on your refrigerator. Tack it up someplace on a kitchen cabinet. That's what's going on next week. Incidentally, we have a boo-boo on this week's. It's got the wrong date at the top, but forget about it. Hey, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Okay, that's one avenue of information. The second page, or turn it over, right? Turn that over. What's on this one from resident programs or the activities department? This is what's coming up in the future, so you can plan ahead. It's all there. Susie and her department put it, we'll talk about that later, but this is what they put out for us to see and to plan for. So we can put it down in our little date books and so forth, okay? All right. Now what do all these committee members do here, so on? Number one is they listen to you. Now, what do you mean? Well, they're constantly, they have a goal. The goal is to find out did you like the show that we had? Did you like the movie? Did you like the Sippin' Social that we had? You know, if you didn't like it, what was wrong with it? Was the music too loud? Sometimes I hear that. That piano was so loud down here. All right. But the idea is to listen to the people and then provide activities, you know, for you, something that you want. That's not an easy job, folks. One of the factors that makes it not easy is we're of different ages. Let me give you an example. Music items. I was born in 1936. The music that I like is the 50s or maybe the 60s. If you were born 10 years later, you're 10 years later in your interest, etc., 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 right? So we're trying to meet the needs of all the people. So sometimes it's rock and roll, and sometimes it's, you know what I'm talking about, right? And trying to meet the needs of the people. So our committee members then, while you're eating supper perhaps and so on and so on, there's a conversation, did you go to the show the other night? Yeah, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it, right? And they come back, and we hear the positives and the negatives. And we adjust what we do based on what you say about it. Simple? Okay, that's how we function. We also react to what people tell us they want. Let me give you a classic, I think, example of that. We had a resident who came into Susie's office, right, and says, hey, I've got the second movie from Downton Abbey. And da-da-da-da-da, so they talked about that movie. Well, the bottom line was, you know, right? What happened is Susie worked with housekeeping for the setup. She worked with the food service for the little goodies that were involved. They had an hour of socializing, and then they saw the movies. We had 200 people do that. They loved it. It was but look, that activity came from you, from an individual here, you know. And we're constantly looking for your ideas, you know, to try to, you know, provide these activities for you. You got it? Okay. Interests, of course, change. Be aware of that. Every now and then, I've been on this committee forever, but every now and then, we hear things, like for instance, we hear repeated things. What about dancing? Why don't we have, years ago, yes, right. Years ago, there was dancing here was important. It was very active, and so on. but it ain't anymore, folks. You know, it isn't. There are some individuals who are all bent out of shape for dancing, that's good, but not enough to put an activity together, at least to any significance, right? Chair yoga is an activity that today's people want. And we had Debbie Frost doing it for a long time, and then after Debbie retired and so on, we had a nice resident who volunteered to do it and so on, and she now has said that's the end of it. Well, Susie went out and first of all, she said, how many people want chair yoga? So you had a chance to sign up and let her know. All right, that's that communication thing again, right? All right. And all right, the result was, yes, there is enough people there that want yoga so that we can go higher. And she went and hired an individual, and we're gonna have it next month. We're gonna go back to chair yoga. But that came from you again. See, you to the department. And then it was executed. All right, let me tell you a little bit about the personnel in the department, all right? Well, of course, we have Susie Bird as the director of that, and I'm sure, and I hope you all know Susie. She's fantastic. We also have in that department a full-time clerical, I call it clerical for lack of a better word, person, a 40-hour person. That's vacant right now. We don't have anybody filling that position. And we also have a 20-hour individual who works, and that's Kayla Waters. She's in that place right now trying to hold it down, right? And then Peggy Burgess still is associated only to a limited degree where she only works 8 hours a week. And that's the whole blooming department, okay? And so I want to give you an idea about what it's like to be sitting in that office. All right, Mrs. Green walks in and she says, I can't remember if I signed up for the Bugs Bunny restaurant, right? Okay. Oh, let me look, says the clerk, right? So she looks up and so on, and on for the list for the Bugs Bunny restaurant, she's not listed. Then she says, well, how come I'm not listed? I'm sure I'm listed. What's wrong with this picture? She came in and says, I don't know if I signed up. Now she's there, right? Okay, so we deal with that. Well, and while she's doing that, the phone rings, right? And the guy says on the phone, let's see, his question is, when is the trip to the Dali Museum? I'm sorry to tell you, sir, that the trip to the Dali Museum has been canceled. It's been canceled? Yes, there wasn't enough people signed up. And if you don't have enough people, you can't provide the bus and da-da-da-da-da-da. You gotta have the right number of people signing up. So he's not very happy. All right, what else will happen in there? All right, in the meantime, this poor lady in there is trying to work on a bus list for, shopping center, all right, to a shopping center. All right, while she's working on that, she has to figure out how many walkers do we have, because walkers take up space on the bus. That limits the number of people who are going to be on that bus, right? So she's trying to work that, and that's why you have to sign up and put down whether or not you have a walker. It's important, right? All right. Then she has to look to see about this motorized chair. Now she's got to get a bus that has a lift on it to get the motorized chair in, right? I mean, these are things you deal with, right? While she's doing that, in walks another lady, right? Yeah, okay. As soon as I can find it on my list. Oh, it's a man this time. All right, enough. All right, the man walks in and he says, how come we don't have a pool tournament? A what? Billiards. We have a table upstairs, we have some people that do it. Why don't we have a tournament, you know, a billiards tournament? Okay, I mean, here's a new idea, it's coming from a resident, right? Pay attention, folks, right? All right, so then you ask the question, how many people are in your group that you want to play pool and so on? I don't know. Well, there's Harry and Sam and so on, but, well, is there anybody? All right, find out how many people. You want a tournament? Yeah, and are there prizes? Yeah. Who's paying for the prizes? And on and on and on. All right, if it's possible, we'll have a pool tournament. If there's enough people, if it can be financed, or if there's a time on the schedule, it will be done. The activities committee wants to meet your needs. You know. All right. Let me just conclude by saying it takes, all right, I kind of illustrated 3 probably negative situations. I don't want to leave you with the impression that it's always negative. It isn't. We have a lot of people who help and volunteer, and they help with the bus, or they help with the, you know, they're good people, and we don't have these problems. But we do have, because we're dealing with folks, we do have from time to time, and it takes a lot of patience. And so, we're down right now 2 or 3 people on that committee. So if any of you want to be involved in the committee, not the Mrs. Green and Mrs. Purple, no. But if you want to be and help us provide the activities, all right, see me afterwards and so on. So, and incidentally, I need a secretary. The committee needs a secretary. And it's not a big deal job, folks. So if anybody would like to help that committee out, you know, help us out for your sake, right? See me about going on the committee. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Joe, I'm not sure you were as entertaining as Bill was. We have to take a vote and see who had more entertaining. But then again, they are activities committee covering all that. Also, I know of another activity coming up October the 8th, Saturday night movie. Is going to be a special movie, probably that movie group didn't tell you, but they're going to have the new Top Gun Maverick movie. So you guys may want to mark your calendar. That's on Saturday night. We also had some great activities yesterday. We had a wonderful lady, head of our physical therapy, came in and gave a presentation. But I'd like to have our secretary, who is also chair of the healthcare committee, come up and talk about an event she has coming up.
Yes, I'm not here to make a report, but just to tell you about something that's coming up that may be of benefit to you. In reference to yesterday, Lisa got Amy Turcott, who is director of the physical therapy here at Freedom Plaza, to present a seminar on neuropathy. And it was so good. We had it well attended. But the thing that came out at that seminar was that people shared information about their conditions and things they did to help themselves. So we all left with something new to think about that would benefit us in some way in our particular conditions. Healthcare Committee has been trying to bring you information through the Did You Know newsletter, and we plan to have a presenter every quarter. So October 7th at 10 o'clock in the auditorium, we have employed Dr. Jim Warren to give a seminar on pain management. Now, is there anyone in this room who has not had a pain in 3 days? Raise your hand. Okay, that is not the majority. Okay, I think this is going to be very good. We have people that I know who go to him and have had really good results. I'll just read you this, that I'm going to be promoting him with a poster on your storage room door or wherever your floor rep places it, to remind you and invite you to this event. Dr. Warren is double board certified in pain medicine and anesthesiology. As the founder and president of Apollo Pain Management in Sun City Center, Cortero Drive, he treats a variety of pain conditions using a comprehensive, evidence-based medical approach, which is personalized to each patient's condition. So this is a person who knows what he's doing and who has good results. You might want to come to see if there might be some solutions for you to get out whatever misery that might be in your life at this time. But beyond that, just come and enjoy and benefit from what he has to say. There will be a question and answer period. So whatever he doesn't cover, you can ask him about and get more information that way. So hope to see you there.
And by the way, last year, the end of the year, the healthcare committee did report, and they brought in a group of some senior citizens who do some jazz dancing. Showed you that you can move and you can do things when you're a senior. They have invited that group back this year. That meeting will be December the 2nd. Because of Thanksgiving, it won't be in the normal November time slot. So you might want to mark your calendar on that one. So, and you can find out how you can even join that group and get moving, because this year I had kind of a little sub-theme that we all should get moving again. You know, after COVID, we all kind of sat around, watched a whole bunch of TV, and so it's good to get moving again and get out there. So, with all that, do we have any questions for anybody, including myself? There we go.
This isn't a question, I just wanted to mention if people are aware of cornhole, there's indoor and outdoor. Every Saturday.
Where cornhole is, and you got your right behind you.
I just wanted to make everybody aware that there's also indoor cornhole the first Saturday of the month at 2 o'clock in the rear of this auditorium. So, especially when it was hot, it would have been ideal, but it's still ideal. So it's set up and we've had very, very few people come. So give it a try.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
I have something. I do have a question. I have been told that after 10 o'clock at night, if one is out and is coming home, there's nobody to escort someone from my, let's say it's me, my parking space. So I am vulnerable to walk from my car to the door. Now, is that true?
Way to go to the Commander-in-Chief.
So the tram driver does leave at 10 o'clock. I don't think we have too many residents that come home after 10 o'clock, but if you do come home after 10 o'clock, you can call the front desk, and as long as both the EMT and the front desk person are there, one of them can come out and escort you back to the building. I did talk to Jeff earlier this week, and this was something we did. I know we used to do it, and I don't know when we stopped, but locking the front doors at 10 o'clock, which we have to fix the lock on the front door, but we're gonna start doing that again as well. There's still somebody there, you just ring the bell, they open it for you. But we're talking about implementing some security measures that were in place before, but somehow we got away from. So there is somebody here that can help you after 10 o'clock, we just don't have a tram driver per se.
So then, if that were to occur, I suppose I could just, if it were me, drive the car up to the front entrance, leave it close by, and then ring the bell or do whatever to come in, correct?
Yes.
I wouldn't have to walk.
Correct.
And the other thing that's kind of come across my mind is any woman that lives here by herself, and there's a lot of women who do, I don't know that everybody has a peephole on their door, and I think that should be something that should be given to anybody that lives here, because I have been told, not just by residents here, but I'll say by friends, anybody can walk in the main entrance. There's not a lot of security there. You can come right past, right upstairs, right to anybody's door, and that bell rings, and we're friendly. We open the door. I don't think that's good. So,
You are absolutely able to get a peephole if you don't have one.
and so all I have to do is ask
Put
Vinny
a,
to put it
yeah,
in.
yep, just put in a work order for that.
That would be really appreciated.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
One of the things that we miss in GBT is lack of social activities, and opportunity to even get acquainted with the people in our buildings. I wish we could have some kind of a emphasis on social gathering, a picnic, building social, something that brings us together. Ways to have concerts outside by the pool, for example, and then those are no longer held. So I think some focus needs to be made on how we in GBT can get acquainted with each other and do things together.
I think you GVT RAC reps are holding meetings, but if they're not, we will remind them. It is part of their responsibility to have gatherings. I think they're doing it. I think I've seen reports coming in that they've had gatherings. Maybe somehow you're missing out on them. I don't know. Usually, most of the time they're having little gatherings inside and having a luncheon or something, but by the pool in the summertime is kind of a rough thing. I mean, this morning it was 69 degrees, but this is the first time I can remember for a long time it's been below 70. So, but I will check with your building representatives. Yep. Okay, sure. Any other questions? I do want to thank Don Vore, who is the gentleman who puts together all these slides for us, helps us out on that. There's a whole lot of other technical ability things going on. So, Don, thank you so much. With all that, there's still a little bit of coffee, and I can see there's a few pastries left in the back of the room. We can't return them, so go have them. Thank you all.